Hey there, hola, ¿cómo estás? Friends and amigos, compañeros del mundo, friends from all over the world. It's your man, the one and the only original man, Globe Master. All right, family. Just finished my shift, and I saw something funny today that I just gotta share. So, as I was doing my route today, I went into this store, and they were playing African music, what you call it, piano, whatever the hell you call it, that South African, that crap, right? Now, excuse me, yo, this is not my generational music, so, you know, if I'm saying it's crap, forgive me for saying that. And the funny thing about it was, it's a bunch of white girls and some black girls. And these girls were getting down with that music. And they were shaking their booties and all kinds of stuff. So I'm standing there looking at them. And the first thing that came to my mind was, man, how times have really changed. I think what I can say about this is, it's hella cool being African nowadays in America. I think I'm gonna make that the title. It's hella cool being African nowadays in America. Bros, I grew up in this country. Now I remember as a teenager in the 90s, being African or being of African descent back then was probably the most corniest thing in the world. Oh, if you had an African name, you was the butt of all jokes. Now, anybody that grew up in this country in the 90s as a teenager can definitely identify or concur with what I'm saying. You going to the train?
No, I'm good. The bus coming.
Oh, okay. All right, man. Take it easy. So anyway, like I was saying, you was the butt of all jokes if you was an African, had an African name. You were the Shaka Zulu. Listen, having an African background, I remember I've been called all kinds of names when I was a teenager. Shaka Zulu, Mobutu, and the most funniest one of all, African Booty Scratcher. Oh my God, I was called that name so many times. African Booty Scratcher. And actually, I had it better than most of the other African kids that I used to go to school with, because my name is not too tribal. Man, I remember, let me give you some examples, right? I remember there used to be this girl. I think her background was probably from the Congo. Her name was, I still remember her name. Sabrina, what was it? Digimambo. Oh my God. This girl caught hell from her last name. And then there was another girl. Her name was Senabu. I think she was from Senegal. This girl, it got to a point that it was just disgusting. They would call her names like Sene Baboon. Listen, we were all teenagers, and teenagers are mean. This girl used to catch it. Okay? It wasn't fun being an African in those days. So now, when I see Americans, young Americans dancing to African music, I can definitely say that, whew, it's cool being African now. And we done come a long way, man. Yo, we done come a long ass way from being African booty scratchers to being cool. Good Lord, we done come a long way. Wow. It wasn't like this when I was growing up. Sure wasn't. But see, the thing is, back then, the ignorance of American media made it so much worse. I can give you some examples. Like, I remember growing up in the 1980s and some, I think, early 90s. If any one of y'all can remember, Ethiopia, them Ethiopians were going through some famine. Just one freaking country out of more than 50 countries in Africa. And the news media here in America will say, all Africans are starving to death. And Africans used to be like, what the hell are you talking about? It's just one freaking country who were then them Ethiopians were actually going through some kind of tribal war, and some warlords was practically starving his own people. As crazy as that sounds, that's what was going on in those days. Okay? But the media here will portray it as like Africa is one freaking country and everybody in Africa is starving with swollen bellies and flies on their faces and all kinds of stupidness. So basically, because of that ignorance, if you was an African, you was looked at like you was diseased, something wrong with you, right? And then came the Somalians. The Somalians had some kind of civil war too. Oh, over here it was known as Africans are at war, when it's just one country out of like 50 something. Okay? The Rwanda genocide. Oh, they say all Africans are killing each other. And then came Ebola. Oh my God. They say AIDS and Ebola came from Africa. Oh my God, man. Man, being African back in the days was hell. So right now, I want to thank the Most High for making Africa cool again. Being African cool again. Seriously. I remember back in the days when I was in high school. I went on a family trip back to Ghana. And then we came back after the summer vacation. And I'm trying to tell my friends how beautiful and how cool Ghana is. Man, I was shut down so quick. Shut up. Shut the F up. You African booty scratcher. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear that garbage from you, you African booty scratcher. But guess what? Some of the same dudes that used to diss me for being African now want to go to Ghana with me. Thanks to YouTube. Thanks to YouTube, nowadays, people, anybody can actually see the true Africa. Okay? You see, the only things you can see here in America back in the days, even up to now, if you don't do your own research, is some nature programming about some people living in some desert country or some primitive people in the Congo or some straight up garbage. They never ever did show anything nice about Africa. But now, thanks to YouTubers like that young Ghanaian guy, what's his name, Wadamaya? Oh, I love that kid, man. He done opened the eyes of millions of people all over the world to how beautiful Africa is. Who else can I say thank you to? Check and Effect. Check and Effect is another YouTuber based in Miami. He's been going to Africa nowadays. He used to go to South America, Brazil, Colombia, and all them places. And now he's showing Africa big time. Waking people up. Who else? Young Playboy Austin Holloman. I like that kid. Austin Holloman is showing the world the beauty of Africa. And the sisters too. I like that kid. You know, he reminded me of myself, but I couldn't do it to his level though. He's way up there. That kid is something else. All right, who else can I thank? There are a lot of YouTubers that are showing the positive side of Africa, and it's good. Hell, nowadays you cannot listen to any radio station